Hey, hey, hey. I'm here. I'm just trying to let some people know I'm live. How's it going, guys? I am not great at the multitasking while I'm on the computer. Hang on, I think I'll do it on my phone. So, guys, hello. Who's here? Who have we got? Um, if you guys watch the Crunch Report in Patreon, it's crunchy over the next couple of days, and it's going to continue. Like today, the crunch builds throughout the afternoon into evening, and tomorrow is super crunchy. Oh, the gang's all here. Hey, guys. How are you on this fine Saturday? So I'll be on live here maybe an hour because I still have to pack. I've got people showing up to grab stuff tomorrow because I'm moving. Remember, hello, welcome, Soledad. Hello, MK, Gestalt girl. Let me see who all have I got here. Summer, Lauren, Diana. Nice to see you guys. Oh my goodness. So are you guys feeling the crunch? Are you feeling it? It's a little crunchy. So a lot of times people think the crunch report is like a horoscope, where you read it for your rising sign, which by the way, always read horoscopes for your rising sign unless somebody writes otherwise. The crunch report just shows the pressure for all the different signs, and I weigh it on a scale, the crunch scale. Super crunchy, especially if you've got fixed placements. You'll feel it even a little bit more. But even if you don't have fixed placements, you have fixed signs in your chart. You have all 12 signs in your chart. I think I'll put that on my tombstone. You have a truck for packing. A trick for packing the clothes in my closet. Oh, I don't even want to touch the clothes. I hate packing so bad. Hello, patient marmalade. Hello. So it's just gonna be, yeah. Oh, I want to know your trick, Soledad. Super fast packing and unpacking and keeps your clothes, I bet, in line, so it's not all mushed. Yeah. That sounds like I would love that trick. I'm tired. I was up really, really late last night. Go figure, because I'm a night owl. But besides being a night owl, I was interviewing Matilda, the medium, for the podcast on Monday. I'm gonna have to edit that down today because I know we went way over the time, and tomorrow, Monday's episode, I got to cover the full moon and all sorts of stuff for you guys. So we'll do it as a two-parter. We'll put part of it in the free podcast and part of it in the patron only podcast. So that'll be exciting. Oh, it's a great episode. It was such a good conversation, and we gave you a lot about 2024. So just some little hints. We were both. It was funny when we were talking before we started the recording. She's like, trying to find some silver linings for people. I'm like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, there's one or two good moments in 2024 that don't all have us going, huh? But she and I both say the same thing. It's got to get, things have to break apart before they can rebuild. And so 2024 is going to be crazy. So make sure you guys are signed up for the 2024 year ahead. I've been going back through my slides from June. I'm like, oh, yeah, no global thermal nuclear war. We are not going to have global thermal nuclear war. But I tell you, it's just, do you guys remember the TikTok video I did where I completely lost my social filter and I was so tired of people asking me who was going to be president? And I was like, hey, I don't even want to do any predictions for you people. You have to understand, you have to get involved in 2024 and not just show up and vote. You need to be at public meetings. You need to vote down ballot 2024. And it's like, I know some people were like, you're an astrologer, don't be political. And it's like, well, first of all, astrologers have always been political. Okay. This idea that astrology is about spirituality, religion, spirituality, politics were all combined until the US Constitution. Okay. First of all. Second of all, I'm a political analyst. So you can't take it out of me. I've been political since I was literally 3 years old, and I wrote Nixon a letter to stop Vietnam. Funny enough, back then, even a 3-year-old could see that bombing babies was bad. Nothing incongruent with me here. But anyway, the thing I do see in 2024 is you better get political fast. That's the thing about a democracy. If you want to have an actual democracy, you have to be involved, and voting is the least of it. So you got to show up. You got to show up at library board meetings. Like literally, libraries have boards. You got to show up. You got to be involved in the process. And if you have the privilege to vote, and not everybody does, if you have the privilege to vote relatively easily, it's not that, then what are you going to do? And I'm not a vote blue no matter who person. I want you to vet your candidates. I care more about local and the House in 2024. Yeah, 435 seats up for grabs. And if you don't get rid of incumbents on both sides of the aisle, we're really hosed because they're so beholden to the military industrial complex. So beholden to it. And there are people who will argue, well, that's how we stay free. I'm like, no, we stay free by upholding our Constitution in the United States. That's how we stay free. So, Schedule F, I don't know that I want to read about that. But yeah, a lot of them are flipping red, but not everybody who's blue shares your same interests. You'll notice that they actually put hundreds of millions of dollars into derailing progressive candidates. And I'm going to say most progressives aren't even as left-leaning as people think they are. We have just moved that far to the right. One of the things under attack right now is freedom of speech, is our right to protest, is our right to redress our government, is, they're starting to put pressure on social media sites, and you have to be able to speak up. Don't let your voice be silenced. But there's more than freedom of speech at risk. So you have to show up, guys. And you're not too little and you're not too small. There's always something you can do. You've got a lot more power. And that's something Matilda and I talk about in our interview. Okay. And she's not even from here. She's from another country. She lives in another country. And she's seeing everything I'm seeing from a mediumship perspective. And I'm seeing it in the astrology. And that's one of the things, if you see a bunch of people lining up on the predictions, whether it's tarot, crystals, bones divination, whatever form of divination it is, okay, mediumship, psychics, etc. If those are lining up, something's up, because they really should. I read tarot. That was my gateway. Yeah, I saw Israel was telling Meta and TikTok to suppress the videos. They did 8,000 takedown notices. I would like that is against democracy. If you can't handle the truth coming out about what you do, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it. Okay, period. Then again, I'm going to say, I'm honestly, we'll see if this is going to get me in trouble here. It's like, how many platforms can Laurie get in trouble on in 1 week? The thing that I have an issue with, especially, is the celebrities that are crying about not feeling safe. And it's like, I am not practicing, nor am I, deeply embedded as a Jew in the culture, but I am of the diaspora, okay? And and I will tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I do not fear anti-Semitism. I do fear Islamophobia because it has much more impacted my children in lots of ways since 9/11. The dehumanization of Arabs and people who practice Islam has, and assuming that all Arabs are Muslim on the first, I'm like, do you know how many religions are over there? It's like the birthplace of religion. Are you kidding? Guess what? There's Arab Jews too. I'm like, what the fuck? I like being here. I like being here. Um, but yeah, and so to me, the trying to control the narrative and speak for all of one kind of people, that's theocratic nonsense. And what really disheartened me were certain people who claim to be progressive Katie Porter, who were like, oh, I think Netanyahu's impressive. I'm like, he has always been right-wing fascist. What are you talking about? There's nothing impressive about him. And anybody that can be like, oh, I'm afraid when there's thousands of people dying. So the astrology shows that things are going to get worse over there over the next couple of days. I wish it were not true. And they're going to keep trying to suppress our speech. Okay. And so I don't know. Do you guys remember when I said you had to think like the French resistance? How many of you guys remember when I was talking about that earlier in the year? You got to think like the French resistance. And if you don't really know much about the French resistance, you might want to take it up. I want to get a hold of people here. So, yeah. And so, yeah, you've got to think like that. Because they're going to start really coming for people's voices. They're already, I saw a video about a Palestinian American man being served a notice that he couldn't protest at ASU anymore. And he was trying to explain to the police officer, hey, you need to hear this. This is, and, yeah, I won't call him by that cute little nickname. I will not call that man by his cute little nickname. It makes him sound harmless, and he's not. And he's always been Ookie. He's always been Ookie. And if you're a patron, I did his chart a couple weeks ago, right? Now, one of the things I also, and they'll probably put this in the patron only podcast, but guess, she calls Trump the angry mango, which I think is hilarious. And I just call him, various things. I'm on TikTok. You look up the Awake Space. My name is accidentally changed. You should still be able to find me under Astro Laurie, but if you go to here, put it in here. I'll do it. Awake. I'm still on TikTok. It's just I can't go live on TikTok until Monday evening. They're very specific about when they're going to let us on. Hey, some jerk, we'll just say that, reported me on my live stream. And I wasn't even saying anything. Well, okay, I made fun of them. They asked for a psychic reading, but in a dumb way. They were like, Andrew, what about Andrew? Are we getting back together? I'm like, nah, he's too busy talking to Charlene. And oh my God. I was like, what do you think? Why are you asking me this stuff? It says astrology. And I know not everybody understands that, psychic readings and mediumship readings and astrology readings are different. But, my patience is thin anymore. I'm just getting old and cranky. It's like, first of all, there's a reason I don't do love readings. Because I do not want to hear about your ex and how you miss them. Go whine to Tammy Wynette. Now, if you're Gen Xer, you'll know what I'm saying. Tammy Wynette, stand by your man. Whatever. I'm the wrong person. You want to talk about real love, real relationships, real partnership? I'm your girl. I love helping couples actually navigate their relationship. But is my ex coming back? No, just say no. Move on. There's 8 billion people in this world. You're going to find somebody if you need to. I just don't understand why there's so much emphasis and fear around being single. Because if you're desperate, you're just going to end up with a boob, So your wife and you do tarot readings. Yeah. Love reading. Yeah. Yeah. You'd be like, no, I'm not that kind of reader, man. I'm not that kind of reader. Ain't doing it. Yeah. Yeah. And so there is a difference. Just like they say, not every psychic is a medium, but every medium is psychic. You don't have to be psychic at all to be a good astrologer. Like, okay, and I'm psychic AF. I was talking about that to Matilda. I am physically psychic. Like it's physical. There's a reason I do not do in-person readings. I have not done in-person reading since 1999. 1999 was the last time I did one-on-one in person. It has been on the phone. I went to conference call, like phone systems. I went to that back in 99. And I want you guys to understand, I am a trained metaphysician, meaning I have trained in alternative healing methodologies. I am physically psychic. Okay. Physically psychic. Took me forever to learn how to block, shield, etc. I have got all the clears. Okay. There's a reason I don't do that professionally. I don't like to walk in other people's goo. I don't. It feels invasive. I don't like it. I will never break somebody's shields. I will never read something. I don't want that crap. Okay. It's bad enough with my own. Okay. But each modality is different. Like for me, astrology is the best filter in the world because it is mental and it just kind of shields things. And I don't have to feel everybody's stuff. But yeah, and people don't understand, like, see, there's channeling, that's different. Okay. And people have all these ideas because they've moved Christianity, like if they left Christianity, whatever form. Okay. Because there's lots of different forms of Christianity. They don't unpack their bags. They come into the spiritual world and they don't really understand what all the forms of divination are or the different spiritual practices are. And divination and spirituality do not have to go hand in hand together. Being psychic does not mean you're spiritual. It just means you're extremely sensitive. Spirituality is its own thing and it's a personal practice. Some people have, been inducted into closed practices. A lot of the work I've done was induction into closed practices. I'm not going to sit and talk about it. So I do astrology for most people. And it just gets really annoying to me that it doesn't get taught that there are different things. Not everybody can do all of the same things. Okay. So, and some of us choose to pick a lane. I could sit and do tarot readings all day. I don't want to. I do them for me and my friends. I'll do them on a live stream once in a while. But I just really don't want to. Yeah. Yeah. Every human being is built to be intuitive in some way. We have our instinct and we have our intuition. How many of you have read, raise your hand, my guide on instinct and intuition? Right? How many of you read, raise your hand, put a heart in the comments, right? Astro Guide Volume 1, Issue 2 talks about the intuition and instinct, and we got both. Everybody has both. Everybody, my friends. We've got it all. It's just we're trained to ignore it, right? Oh, look at all you good people who did your homework, right? Ah, great. Remember, those books are references. They're meant to be read over and over and over again. I like that TikTok sound where they took it from the things what we do in the shadows, and I was like, I'm a wizard. That's kind of how I feel. And it isn't that you can't be spiritual and do these things, but like astrology is not spiritual. That's why it's always hard for me, like inherently, like in Western tropical astrology. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you love the Chiron one. RRF says your guides are so awesome. I just read the Chiron one, and it has been a game changer. I'm putting you on my screen. You win a screenshot, right? Yeah. Don't overemphasize Chiron though. Don't give it too much power. It's still minor. It's still very minor. It's not a major placement. But it does help to understand it. You know, it has some influence, but very minor. Yeah. Yeah. People need to understand that God is not a religion. Oh, God, honey, that has started more wars. That has started more wars. Oh, yeah. No, it's not more impactful, RRF. I'm really going to say the only reason I wrote the Chiron guide is people overemphasize Chiron and they use it as kind of, and this it's going to sound really harsh. So it's not meant to be harsh, but I'm sure it could sound harsh. So that's not the intention though. People use it as an excuse to not grow. Okay. They'll say like, well, my Chiron's there. I'm screwed. That's where my wound is. And I can't heal. And first of all, Chiron stays in a sign for 5.5 years, guys. 5.5 years. It's slower than Saturn. Okay. Slower than Saturn. That means it's almost, good enough to be considered an outer planet. I get to read for Zaki. I get to read for Zaki. Woo, woo. Hi, Zach. Oh, you're going to make my Saturday. You're going to make my Saturday. Thank you. Yeah. I'm waiting till I move to look at my schedule and look at everything else. So, yeah, it is. It's an asteroid. It's very tiny. We don't need to give it that much power. The reason why people overemphasize Chiron is because in the 70s when it got discovered, because that's the other thing, it's only been around since 1977 in our consciousness. It has not even had its full orbit. And, it won't have gone through the whole of the orbit until like what? What it needs. Well, it's almost maybe. No. Once it's gone around by 51 years. 51 years is its orbit. So, the hippies got all excited about it. Hey, Melissa, how you doing? So I kind of like these YouTube lives. They're much less anxiety producing, don't you think? TikTok, I'm always like, I'm always, it feels like people are flying at me, It is nice. It's cozy. We'll be cozy together. I don't know. I get fed up with TikTok. TikTok used to be so fun. Do you remember when TikTok was fun? I remember when it was fun. You could watch later on your treadmill. I love it. That's right. I'll keep you busy. Right? Yeah, he's busy talking to Charlene. Damn that Charlene stealing her man. I should have said Jolene. Oh my God, it is calmer. I feel calmer. Yeah. Oh God, TikTok is Russian roulette because I honestly sit watching the comments and I'll be like, what dumbass comments coming up now? What dumb thing is somebody going to say? Am I going to lose my temper? Don't lose my temper. I'm going to get kicked off. What weird stuff? Am I going to get a troll? That's what I'm doing when I'm live on TikTok. It is like a constant, like, who the hell is showing up? But yeah, you like the YouTube emojis? Aw. Yeah. It's terrible. Oh, Jesus. We have Lilith banned in our words. So on TikTok, we have a list of banned words. Lilith is one of those words. I also have birthday banned. I have birthday banned because if I'm talking about the astrology and somebody goes, it's my birthday, I'm like, have some cake? I don't know what to do about your birthday, bruh. It's like, I'll be talking about a serious world issue and somebody goes, but that's my birthday. Like, are you 12? Kitchen because I can't handle a different opinion. What are you talking about? Do I need to block you, or are you having a good conversation? Kitchen mortician. Lilith is actually fake. It's not real. It's not visible. It was lied about by Safarial. But yeah. Lilith is not a thing. Do the actual research. We can be metaphysicians and work with science too. So can't handle a different opinion. I've got 30 years in this game and I have a very high accurate record. Just because someone has a different opinion, does not make them a troll. Troll. Okay, well, I also have very little patience for people who haven't actually done any research or actual study and just carry on with the pot bullshit that denigrates astrology. There we go. So, tra-la-la-la-la. And just because you've got an opinion does not mean you need to speak it out of your mouth. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Tell you. Oh, other people's opinions. But you see, when you're on my page, I'm teaching astrology and I'm teaching my astrology. So I don't give a flying fuck. Go find people who do the wrong kind. So I have a record and I keep my record clean. So I am a post-menopausal Scorpio rising. Just don't whine at me. Somebody's like, I've watched a lot of YouTube astrology. That's right. You got to pay me to troll me. But got to pay me to troll me. And we like, yeah, not everybody's a troll, but some of it is just ridiculously not good stuff. So, but yeah, we took Lilith and we banned that on TikTok because I get so sick of it because instead of doing the actual study of astrology, people just want to get like their bells and whistles. So you have people, one of the ways I know somebody has not really studied astrology very in depth is they'll go, I have a Kazemi. I have a stellium. Because really studied astrologers don't walk around going, flex, flex. I'll say Kazemi once in a while just to get people to listen. But when I hang out with my astrologer friends, we don't go, I have a Kazemi. What's your stellium like? Can I see it? Can I see your stellium? Can I? I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Oh, we don't do that. We don't talk about astrology that way. That's internet astrology. I'm here to combat astrological ignorance. Ta-da! I've got my own open mic night. And that's the other thing. Don't want any other opinions. I've got the microphone. There's power in the microphone. You can tell that the moon is in Aquarius. It's in my 3rd house and it's making me snappy. But yeah. I just can't be one of those creators. You know, one of those creators who are like, ha ha ha, at everything, like the super, like, I'm going to be upbeat. You can call me anything you want and I'm just going to smile. I cannot do that. You're never going to get that here. You're never going to get it here. You're never going to get it from me. I may never be huge because of that, but I am never going to be like, oh, we just love her because she's always so upbeat. Like, Scorpio rising. That ain't happening. Not happening. I have the mic, so you will listen to every word I have to say. Exactly. Make a hole in the middle of the bottom of a trash bag and slip over the hangers and close. Oh, yes. I love that. I've done that. Yes. Yes. That's great for the ones that hang up. I'm short on hangers, though, for some reason. I have extra socks and not enough hangers because the distribution system isn't working in my world. But not everything has to be hung. But yeah, your natal moon is in Aquarius in the 6th house. You'll have, does the moon affect your chart in a specific way or just in your 6th house? That's a really, really good question, RF. I'm going to put that on the screen. There you go. Yeah, so there you go. Or just in my 6th house. So it depends on what your moon is aspecting in your chart. Okay, so if your natal moon is aspecting stuff, then the transit moon, once you have your lunar return, so you have to know your degree in minute, because that's what a return is. A return is not the whole time a planet or luminary is in a sign. Okay, it is the exact moment when the planet returns to the degree in minute it is in the birth chart. So every month you have a lunar return. Okay, so that creates a chart. The lunar return creates a chart. That's a divinatory chart. Okay, it's a little more advanced astrology, so it's a little better to understand your natal chart before you start running into solar and lunar returns and understanding other stuff. But this is a basic transit tutorial, which, by the way, I have an intro to transits video, I believe. I think. If not, I meant to finish. Oh, wait, I don't. I have to finish it. I haven't written it. It's on the list of to-dos. I was just looking through stuff I've got and stuff I'm meaning to make. So anyway, now, if your moon is, say, like square your sun, then when the moon transits your moon exactly, or within orb, right? And I use 8-degree orbs. I prefer 6 when I'm predicting, but 8-degree orbs in general. That's the standard practice. Some people go as far as 10. I think that's a little wide. That's something I teach when I teach my classes, because it's a little wide in my opinion. I like to use 8 to 6. And once it's in orb, it will not only activate, the planetary return to your moon, so the lunar return, it'll activate any aspected planets. So, and it activates those things in the natal chart. Now, that could be a happy instance. That could be a stressful instance. It depends on what's going on. It activates the house the minute it enters the house, but it doesn't mean it's a return. So it just depends. It depends on where everything is at. That's why we do the math. I reminded you of the song from the Labyrinth. Ooh, I love that. David Bowie. I'm cool with that. So yeah. So keep yeah. I could do this, like, I wonder if this is a way I could do some astrology Q&A. Like, I'll do it on the podcast, but I could answer questions here too. I wonder, we could do live streams. But yeah. It's wild, I tell you. It's a wild time on the planet. Okay. It is interesting. It's very fascinating. You cleared up your idea about lunar returns. Good. Yeah. So sometimes people get like really nervous. They'll be like, is it a good thing or a bad thing? And like, depends on the month, like notice we have ebb and flow in our lives and the moon shows that. There's a lot of people who will say, oh, the moon, don't emphasize the moon. It doesn't mean that much, but it does mean stuff. So because it governs daily life. So lunations are very important to take a look at. Scorpio rising, Cap moon, Pisces sun. Well. Oh, hey Diana, you're new to my pages and you're gonna join. Oh wow, even after I made fun of somebody, thank you. I have a lot of resources in the Patreon. And Soledad, I've got YouTube videos that do walkthroughs too. So I've got walkthroughs in the Patreon. I got some beginning astrology stuff up. I'm like, you know what? I would probably get bigger if I stopped making fun of people in the comments. My daughter gave me a lecture about that the other day. I can't help it. I'm like, oh. It's like, who's queen? Who's queen? Me. Yeah, I can't not be me. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Let's see if I can find it without kicking myself off of here. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to kill it. Well, I'm not going to say that because that would sound wrong. Oh, cool. Hold on. My channel. Hold on. Here we go. I found the one to start you off with. Here we go. Yeah, and I've just never I've never had patience. So it's like if you're gonna toss an accusational statement in my direction, I have Mars in the first house in Sag. There's gonna be a clapback. It's reflexive. I could be nicer. If I have to be nice, I can be. Like in public. But I kind of feel like this is my living room. So it's like, don't come into my house. Cancer. But yeah, that's a beginning video right there. Understanding the Sims. Oh my God, they never would have made it through high school when I was a kid. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But not that we want people to go through that either, I think we can have a kinder, gentler world. But I think one of the things I've noticed is people are really good at poking. Professional is respectful. I don't know. Singing at people is probably professional. But yeah. 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 I'm not always professional when I get mad at people, especially on my TikTok lives. But I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. Like, I'm here. This is not income generating. When I answer questions on live streams, not the podcast, that's different. That's from patrons. I'm here just answering questions. So when people are like, that's your opinion, I'm like, well, then get off my live. If you don't like my opinion and you want to argue with me, I am not here to argue with you. I don't have the energy. I am a postmenopausal Scorpio rising, Cancer woman. I do not have the patience. None at all. My patience flew away years ago. I raised 2 young people into full grown ass adults. So yeah. You are asked to refer someone to someone as them or that or something. Yeah. Oh, no, I respect people's pronouns. I do. I respect people's pronouns. I get their point. Soledad. People have a right to self-determine. That's a different story. To me, coming in with bad astrology information and trying to get me to swallow it is different than having people have preferred pronouns. I have no problem. I used to get in trouble as a kid because I called everybody them. I didn't understand why we had to have girl and boy. I didn't understand that. Like, obviously, there's biological differences, but I don't care if I get called sir, her, madam. Just don't call me late for dinner. I've been called sir plenty because when I wake up, my voice is deep. And I've had like phone calls and be like, hello, sir. Like, it's ma'am. And they're like, and I'm like, it makes me kind of laugh. But yeah, and in fact, as we move through the Pluto in Aquarius era, there's massive social shifts that are going to happen, but they're not happening overnight. They're not happening overnight. In fact, it's going to get a little more constrictive if we don't stand up. That's why I'm saying everybody stand up, everybody stand up, everybody stand up, because there's going to be a move to repress. And then we get like the French Resistance and we push forward. But we're already seeing the echoes of that. If you think you can close your eyes and manifest a better reality really quick, it's probably not going to happen. 2024 is just, it's ugly. People are going to have to stand up and fight for it. And it's like I said, you'll hear when Matilda and I are talking, you'll hear about that. It's wild. So, yeah. Hey, but yeah. So, let me just typing into the Discord. I don't know which part of my chart it's from, but I am definitely a little grump. Mars and Cancer can make you a little grump. Right? Oh, it's a great interview. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to 2024 too, because you got to break eggs to make an omelet. And I'm really looking forward to it because Pluto is going to be off the opposition to my sun. What's with all the Republicans that are, well, it's not the first time in American history we've had people like try to fight. They used to have duels. Yeah. We're going to see more chaos. And in fact, around election time next year, it's fugly, which kind of can be expected. Like when we look at the world now, like why would we think it'd be all of a sudden really good? So it's gotta get whipped up in the Cuisinart of the universe to be, yeah. I don't know. Did you see in Albania in their parliament, the opposition party put smoke bombs and like stink bombs and lit them in the parliament? We're kind of low key in America. I thought the smoke bombs in Parliament was kind of funny. Right? The day Pluto gets out of your 1st and 7th, you're going to celebrate. I know the feel. I lived through that. I lived through that. I did. I lived through it. It's something else. The day I really partied was the day I got out of my 2nd house. That was 2019. I went through a 20-year Pluto transit through the 2nd house. Doesn't mean it's bad. You've got Aquarius there, so you're fine. It depends on the sign it's going through. So I was so glad to have it out of there. I was like, thank you. Thank you. It was a long run. Now it's in my third house. It's probably in my third house till I keel over. Yeah, I might make it through. No, that's not true. Sorry. It'll be in my fourth house when I keel over. So now I don't know the exact day. I don't want to know the exact day, but I also know we don't live forever either. So I am still alive. Yeah, squaring your Scorpio placement. I'm not really worried about the Pluto square on my ascendant. That's not for quite a few years though. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got to get creative. We all have to find new playbooks, and that's something Pluto brings to the table is it has us, yeah. So long within your second house that you got to change your ideas around money. The faster you turn it into a power position, the better. That is the one thing I learned. If you have these really strong principles and ideals that set you apart and they're screwing you and your foundation, that's probably not going to help. So, yeah, build an empire. That's it. You just got to be like, build an empire, build an empire. Yeah, it's going to oppose your Mars. That's all right. That's not a bad transit. Oppositions and squares are creative. They're creative. So if they force us to do things, like in the case of Mars, it forces you to like look at how you do things, like physically do things and change things up. So you got to be conscious for these transits. If you're unconscious, that's where you get like bitch slapped by the universe. So yeah, super exciting. You had Pluto conjunct your ascendant in late high school. It was good. See, there you go. It depends on the person, the expression. Pluto across my ascendant was hell. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It really does push you to grow. But I also had Saturn coming through at the same time. Kind of like everybody that had to deal with Pluto and Capricorn and Saturn and Capricorn. I was dealing with Pluto and Scorpio and Saturn and Scorpio. And it was just like, but there was a lot of crap going on. You use AstroSeek. Yes, AstroSeek is a good site. Yeah, it's good. It's good. In fact, I kind of prefer it anymore over astro.com. Oh, it made you move to Chicago. There you go. Yeah. AstroSeek is a good site. Astro.com, I've had an account on since 1996, but I don't know what they did to their aspects. And their transits are not current. And so, like, it's not real time. And I've also noticed they've got some weird stuff in there now. Like, whoever changed hands, they're like, oh, people want to do this. We're just not going to use research based information. We're just going to be like, people like it. I'm like, that's how you get really bad information. Just because everybody wants something doesn't mean it's real. You have to what happened to peer review? It really kind of bugs me too, since the older astrologers, on one hand, they fought for us to have some standardization, and on the other, they were like, well, everybody can believe what they want. I'm like, you can't have peer review and everybody do what they want at the same time. So, but yeah. Pluto and Aquarius will be interesting to witness. It's in your sixth with your moon, Uranus, and Neptune. Yeah, it's going to hit everybody born in the late 90s, early 2000s, Uranus and Neptunes. So, but with your moon, you're going to do a lot of different changes with your work. You've been pretty activated, Zach. We'll see what chaos you cause. We'll see what chaos you cause in the world. It will be good chaos. I'm excited for a reading. No, there's no power in being scared. There is none. And in fact, there's a lot of disempowering information online when it comes to the astrology, and it doesn't help. I remember being a young astrologer and studying, and I would come up against information that just sounded terrifying, and it certainly didn't help, and I'd be trying to, like, figure it out, and that's why I do everything I can to kinda bring it down, be a little less sensational, take a look at it, but we have to be conscious, you know? That's the most important thing. What I've noticed is transits, just like all energy expresses in a spectrum, and spectrums aren't just, like, low to high, it can be left to right, it can be multidimensional, and so, yeah, Pluto going through the 6, it can. Yeah, Pluto going through the 6 can. It's not Pluto isn't making the health problems happen, but it could be showing the timing, and there may need to be lifestyle changes to improve your health. Yeah, they make it sound like your life will fall apart. Thank you. Yeah, my first teacher, actually, from the very first day, and I don't know why it's so clear. Oh, it's gonna sextile your Venus and square your Sun? Fun. You have Pluto and Uranus in the 8th in Libra? No, it's not very bad, honey. Janine, it's not bad. That everybody who what were you born in, well, wait, in Libra. Were you born in, like, 1971? 197 well, no. You would have been born in, like, what, 74? Maybe? Everybody your age has that. Not meant necessarily in the 8th, but Pluto in the 8th is at home. 73. Okay. See, I was close. Not bad for the mental math. Yeah, everybody born in 73 would have had that. Just like everybody born, well, not everybody, but there would have been big groups of people born because, like, in 69 when I was born, we had the Uranus Jupiter conjunction in Libra. And so, but yeah. Does Pluto going through the 4th of impact family members? Not necessarily. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It impacts your foundation. It impacts your foundation. Yeah, you're welcome. See, this is the type of things I like to do. I like to clear the cobwebs. So that person that came in is like, you just don't like other people's opinions. Like, yeah, I don't. When they scare people, when people's opinions scare people or make people feel less than, I think my issue with Lilith is, as an actual feminist, I have a problem with any fall from grace story. I have a problem with women only having power by being bitter and vengeful. I think if we want power, which means to not be disempowered, we have to change our narratives. We have to tell different stories. I think, like, if the only way we have power is being jealous bitches, it's a problem, And so I don't like any of the fall of man stories. I do not believe we fell. I believe we were hoodwinked. I think we are part of this planet, and by that makes us divine. Doesn't mean we're gods, but it means we are part of one single creation. That this earth is a living, breathing organism, and every entity on it, be it human, rock, mineral, animal, because humans are animals, all of us are, trees, water, grass, the sky, the air we breathe, the water we drink, it's all intrinsically tied. And I think as long as we see ourselves as separate from that, as long as we see ourselves as temporary guests on a floating rock in space, we have a problem. Oh, you weren't speaking about Lilith. Wow, you're still here. I was not speaking about Lilith. I was speaking of in general, speaking through and talking about others' knowledge is helpful, not harmful. Damn, Laurie. Damn you, Laurie. Damn. I don't know what you're. So but we were talking about Lilith at the time. Okay. And we're also on texting. So, I don't I don't think everybody, like, I think a lot of people think they have knowledge they don't have. As somebody who has been at this a very long time, even people in the professional community often just repeat things without investigation. So I don't mind an actual discussion. Oh, talking about TikTok lives. Well, yeah, but I was talking about Lilith being there. And no, I don't want other people's opinions on my live streams. I'm there to talk about what I'm there to talk about. That's my live stream. That's my time. It's my public service. And I've had other astrologers try to riff off my audience to build theirs. And that's not okay either. If they want to be friends, they can talk to me and I'll help promote them because I help promote people all the time. But yeah. Yeah. So, and yeah, anyway, I guess we do not agree. So, or maybe I didn't understand your point, and that's possible. So, but yeah. Oh, Haunted Roadhouse, Tracy. Everybody follow Speaking of, follow Haunted Roadhouse. That is Tracy St. Croix. Hey, Tracy. So, yeah, I do. But I really do get annoyed on my lives when people want to like debate me because I'm like, I don't want to debate. I want to teach what I teach. I'm not there. I'm not there to debate. So, especially when I'm tired. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, so if somebody comes on whole sign, uh, we're not going to have a conversation because I'm not going to debate that. It's an unfounded opinion. So because I'm getting ready to move, I haven't been able to do all the content I want to be doing. But I'll be doing some mathematical content, astromath, and some historical explaining, things. Because I think a lot of people have opinions and they're not based on research. And so I like to show the research, like why I do what I do. Malcolm is fine. He's sitting next to me. Um, he's grooming himself. So he's grooming himself. He's hanging out. He'll be happy when we move. He gets to move back towards his BFF. He'll have his BFF. I am happy about the move. I am. I just hate moving. Like, I'm a Cancer, so it's unsettling, even though this move will be a little easier. I think once we start, um, oh, thank you, Anita. They come to pick up some of my furniture tomorrow, so I'm just gonna take it slow. No, it's mostly done. So now it's just working with my schedule to get like they're coming to get like the big couches. Um like I've got a bunch of stuff for a set that we tried to set up here and it just didn't work here. Um the other space is perfect. I could probably have like 3 freaking sets there. Um And so I've got end tables, I've got decorative tables. Like in fact, I haven't been happy since I tried to make this work with my daughter's vision here because I'm more of a minimalist. So I'm not it gets very visually overwhelming for me. So I've got that stuff to go. I have a wine rack, even though I don't drink wine, but my son-in-law gave it to me. He deals antiques. I'm like, it's a pretty piece of furniture. Um, yeah, my TV, maybe my cabinet. I got to get the books out and books boxed. Luckily, I've been smart and I haven't like filled my book collection to overfull because I knew I'd be moving. So I'll go back to restoring my library. So what's a Venus Gemini to do without a library? But yeah, so it's a wild and crazy world. So yeah, getting ready to move. Um, and then I'll have to wear makeup and put on like actual clothes. So you'll get to see me fancy. My daughter's making me present myself and comb my hair and shit. I always said if Einstein didn't have to comb his hair, I shouldn't have to comb my hair. I have a really high IQ. I think I have the high IQ that doesn't need to comb their hair, but people disagree. Um, it's a long-standing joke. I have a Virgo as a child. It's just my way of poking fun. Um, Actually, you know what's funny? Your mom's not too wrong about that. Leos can be with other signs, but there is a special kind of magic for the Leo Gemini energy. Your mom's not too wrong. My dad's a Leo, my mom's a Gemini. There is something with that energy. It's just, it's really something. And it isn't true. They can be with other signs. But Leo Gemini, there is a magic there. It's kind of like, yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, Jessica, the math. It's yeah. Jennifer is going to teach math. I'm going to teach history of math. I'm going to, no, it's this one coming this Monday. I was up till the wee hours of the morning with Ms. Matilda. It was lovely. She's lovely. She's utterly lovely. Utterly lovely. So yeah, so it's this Monday. Part 1 will come out Monday. Part 2 will come out Tuesday. Hopefully, depends. Monday for sure. Tuesday or Wednesday for the part 2, which is patron only. So, but yeah. Well, every planet or celestial body has a return, but I be very careful about what you believe about Chiron returns because nobody's a definitive expert. We've only had Chiron in our consciousness since 1977. It's an asteroid. Um, it's not a major placement. It's not a major placement. And I think it's overemphasized because people get really into the wounding story. Yeah, Matilda's from Australia. Oh, right, being right. Yeah, my boyfriend has an Aries moon, and he's a Cancer with a Cancer Mercury. Um, once in a while, we have this kind of inside joke between us, and once in a while, because English is his second language, and so once we had an argument over text because he kept saying, "You know better." And I thought he was, "You know better" at me. And I was like, "What the hell? I am a grown woman. What are you doing talking to me like that?" Because I was in between readings running. I wasn't paying attention, right? And I do know better in that English is a second language. I'm like, "What are you I finally called him. Like, this is months ago, right? Finally called him. I'm like, "What do you mean I know better?" And he goes, "Why are you mad? I'm complimenting you." And I'm like, "How are you complimenting me?" He goes, "It's your thing. You know better than anybody else." I mean, "Oh, the term is you know best." He goes, "That's stupid. Why would you say that?" So the other day, I was I was actually chiding him in a playful way. We were in the grocery store. I'm like, "Oh, you know better." And he was like, "Yes, yes, I do." That Aries moon. He will not budge. It's so funny. I'm like, "Oh my God." It was so cute. You know better. I do. But yeah, it was I love the silly things. because I will drive a point home. And you know what? That's probably something too. One of the reasons I absolutely love coffee with Laurie um, is I get to hear your voices. And with Venus and Gemini, that is my preferred. I like to have dynamic two-way conversations. So for the kitchen or kitchen, I actually don't mind having a debate when we're in person. I don't like to have a debate where I'm not sure what's going on in the comments. And it can feel very brash, especially if there's hundreds of people coming at you. Like, this is nice. There's 27 people on. And I don't feel it feels like Star Wars, like you're out there in space and people are coming at you and the comments are scrolling and you're trying to track the comments and then you get people spamming the comments. And it's just it can be a very vulnerable space when you're making content as well, and there's a lot of people on. Um, you know, So it's probably the Venus and Gemini. I get very cranky when I don't have clear understanding, and it's just like I want it gone so I can focus because there's a lot of stimulation going on a TikTok live. This is much nicer. Like I said, this is cozy. I'm gonna have to do these. Like I'll have to figure out a schedule because again, my schedule is gonna be like rearranged once I do get settled. So, but yeah. Oh, it's always fun to mess with people lovingly. If they handle it, don't tease Virgos. They don't like being teased. Do not tease Virgos. And, unless you want to draw back a stump, do not tease them. It gives them nightmares and tummy upsets. Don't do it unless they have other placements. But if it's a very strong Virgo heavy chart, don't tease. Be kind. Give them a cat. Be nice to them. Aries, you can tease because they're going to tease you right back. Geminis, you can tease. They'll tease you right back. I was really sensitive when I was little as a Cancer. You don't want to tease Cancers too much either when they're little. So, but yeah. But yeah, well, I got to read for Zach in about an hour. Huh, Zach? Are you still there? But super funny. This was fun. This was nice. Oh, crack. My back just cracked. Really bad. Been sitting too long. I'm almost done with the workbook just because my schedule's been so crazy. I'm almost done with the workbook for healing the money wound. So if you took that workshop, it's on the way. It's coming. I promise. I'm almost done. Right? Yeah, no, Virgos can't handle. Stop being funny, mom. Mom. Yeah, they can't handle the teasing. They really can't. Mm-mm. No, I don't know why Virgo children choose parents with Sagittarius placements, but they do. What was Jackie's question? I'm looking. I don't see the question. I don't see that. Can you ask it again? Because I'm not seeing what you're talking about. I'll wait. You're a Cancer sun with Gemini, Moon and Venus. Yeah. Right, exactly. It's tone, it's intent. I'm kind of like that, yeah. I know. Well, you can't, but we can like my daughter, I used to drive her nuts. I still do. Oh, does Pluto going through the fourth? I did answer that. I said not necessarily. Yeah. Pluto going through the fourth does not necessarily affect family members, not necessarily. It can, it might, it's usually a change in your foundations, and it can be, you can't say definitively, people gonna die, there's gonna be a disaster, that's really bad astrology. And so usually there is a transformation, there's an opportunity for healing. It can be a powerful thing. It could be a powerful move. You might choose to move, but it doesn't always impact family members. It depends. So, and we have to remember, we're born and we die. What we do in between is living. In America, especially, we act like dying is a big surprise. We do. We're like, oh my God, and people, it's not a big surprise. It's not something we want to deal with, but people do. But Pluto transits are not always indicative of people keeling over. It can be, but you need more than one transit going on. I like to use 3 factors or more to identify happenings in a chart, because it's not just one placement. I hope that answered that, Jackie. Sag suns, which I am, are so sensitive and we pretend not to be. Yeah. Ken, you're welcome. Yeah, Ken. Yeah. My Cancer sun is in the 9th house with the Mercury, and my Mars is in Sag, and I use humor as, like, notice I'll sing at people. Singing is like, talk about fight song, and I've been that since I was a kid. My brother and I used to fight sing and fight dance. It was the 80s. It was the 70s and the 80s. We would have Broadway sing-offs. We were strange children. He's an artist now, and I'm an astrologer. Look what happens when you do not supervise children. You're not scared to die, but utterly terrified to lose your parents or siblings. Yeah, that's something. Well, and see, so Pluto's going to ask you to relax your hold on that and understand you're connected regardless. It is scary, isn't it? But it's an event, we don't know the expiration date of any of us, right? Oh, yeah. Well, they're your rock, and they're your family, I think even in countries where and war is terrifying, but even in countries where that isn't going on, there's a little bit more realistic view of our lifespan. But you are probably just really, really attached to your family and loving them while they're here. Like, when we fear people dying and fear the loss of people, we rob ourselves of the present we have with them. We rob ourselves of the present moment with them. And so maybe Pluto will be saying, hey, get some support around this, get some therapy around this, do some work around this. Because the more you tell the story of I'm terrified, the more you're like, I can't let go. I can't, it's like a parent, like, constantly clutching on to a child and not letting them go live their lives. They don't have to go fly too far from the nest. They can stay next to you. You can fly apart and come back together. Um, it holds everybody back. And so, I'm not a big believer that everybody has to live independently. Again, I moved out of living with my son-in-law and daughter to focus on building my business. I'm moving back to scale because I can do something differently there that I couldn't do before. Um, I could live with my daughter the rest of my life. I'd be fine. One of the things I really worked on with my kids, because I am their only living biological parent and they don't have a lot of close family, was as they were being raised, I was like, I'm not going to be here forever. You have to know how to do these things. You have to make other relationships with people. You have to make other connections with people, because someday I won't be here. And my job as a parent is to get you ready for that. and so you have to be functional. Now, we don't know what that day, and I'm probably not going for a really long time. And it's okay to be scared, Jackie, by the way. It's okay. It's okay to be scared. Those are scary things. I don't like thinking about what if something happened to my kids, because that's equally likely if everybody's relatively healthy, right? And so it is scary, but working on that so that you can be in the moment with your family and be present with your family and enjoy them while they're here so that you have the memories. Love doesn't die. Love doesn't die. Love doesn't die. Love is energy. Oh, a soul hug. Oh, I love this. This comment goes up. This is like my fridge. Putting your comments up on my live stream is like having your art on my fridge. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad. Yeah, enjoy what you have when you have it. I learned that through a Pluto transit to my moon when I was a little girl. And I was 11. And my grandfather, I didn't know anything about astrology at the time. And it was a really weird, crazy time in life. My grandpa had been sick for 2 years, and we had moved in to take care of him. When I was 9, we moved in to take care of him. He had a tremendously awful stroke and needed full-time care. And so we moved in, and it was my grandfather and grandmother downsized like the year I was born. And my grandma was like, do not downsize once the kids move out. You will have grandchildren. Don't do it. And so anyway, so there wasn't a lot of room, and we had to be, it was a pretty stressful situation. I loved my grandfather. I was his princess. So I didn't mind taking care of grandpa. And I didn't have to do a lot of the physical care. I would watch him if mom had to quickly run and get a gallon of milk from a very close store, which he would still manage to get out of his wheelchair in that amount of time. I have some really fond memories of helping take care of him. And on November 4th of 1980, he keeled over. And it was done. And I felt relief. Everybody else was acting like it was tragic, but I had watched this man suffer for 2 years. And people not paying attention to what he was really saying, because he, when you have a stroke, you may be thinking one thing and it comes out another word. But Grandpa would say, I want to go home. He'd say that, I want to go home. I knew he didn't mean, they'd be like, you are home, Alden. And he was like, I knew what he meant. He didn't want to be in his physical body anymore. He hurt. He didn't feel good. He was in pain. He was trapped inside his mind. I knew all of that. I was a kid. So when he did transition, I felt relief. At his funeral, which was like a week and a half later, it dawned on me that other people I loved could die, not just if they were sick. Like just the whole reality got me. And my great grandma from my mom's side was there, and she was my safe person. She was my everything. She was my light and my life. And she was older than my grandpa. And I'm like, And so I ran to her. I gave her a hug, and I said, please, please tell me you're not going to die. Please, please tell me. And she hugged me, and she kissed the top of my head, and she said, I have taught you so much. And I've lived a good long life. We don't get to live forever. I've been hanging out as long as I can. Now, I know she was trying to tell me she wasn't doing well, but I was 11. And we had Thanksgiving the next week, like just days later. And we drove up to my uncle's house in Washington State, where the whole family got together. And we were all from Oregon, but we all traveled to my uncle for a change, because he was always the one who came down to us. And it was the nicest visit. It was like a whole long visit. We spent like days and days and days together. I'm sure it was like 2 or 3 days before Thanksgiving. And we played and we did dumb stuff and we had a good time. And when we went to leave, I was a little grouchy. I was tired. And I figured I'd see my great grandma on Saturday because I went over to her house every weekend. I spent every weekend at her house since I was born. And we got all the way home to Oregon, a 3.5-hour drive, and the phone was ringing. And I knew that was one of my first psychic impressions. I knew it was my great grandmother. And she had had a heart attack and they had taken her to the hospital. And we got back in the car and I don't know how fast my dad drove. And we got back to Washington. And my mom called the hospital to see if we should go to the hospital or go to my uncle's house. And I knew as she got out of the car, my great grandmother was no longer living. And the juxtapositions between those two at 11 of one feeling immense amounts of relief because the person had been in obvious suffering and the soul aching gap left by the one I wasn't ready for, even though she tried to warn me. And I felt so guilty because I figured I would see her on Saturday and I didn't tell her goodbye or I love you. And so I'm a really weird person. I will tell people I don't know very well, I love you. Goodbye. That was a Pluto transit. Now, was the reason those people died the Pluto transit? No, my understanding of affection and emotion and transition and matters of connection is what happened with that transit. It did not cause people to die. It caused me to understand the nature of physicality. My great grandmother, I could feel her next to me for months and months and months and years and years and years and years and years and years after she passed. And every once in a while, I'll feel a little hug. I'll smell a whiff of Noxzema and rose milk because that's what she smelled like. And she was always there when I needed her, even not in the physical. And that's what a Pluto transit taught me. The Pluto transit did not cause these people's lives to end. One was sick and she was too. We just didn't know. She had heart issues, which she did know about, but she'd lived through a thing or three. She was in her 80s. She'd lived through a thing or three. So my point is, if one of the most valuable lessons I ever had in my life was just remember to say I love you and goodbye every time you see someone. That was biggest, because I also know love doesn't die. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, right? And if that's something we get to learn in this life, it's a privilege, because we only grieve as deep as we love. We only grieve as deep as we love. I'm 54 years old. I still have tears in my eyes. That was a long time ago. And she's still here. She's still with me. So these things are things we can learn through Pluto transits, but it's not Pluto taking our family members. It's not malicious. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I hope it helps, because I don't think we have enough conversations about these things, and it'll feel sudden and it feels personal, and it's not the universe trying to get you, I promise. As metaphysicians, our stories are the teaching, the experiences. It's not just intellectual knowledge. It's how did it apply? How did it work out? So, but it's not a guarantee. You could have like a really cool thing. You guys might get your dream house with Pluto transiting the 4th. Alrighty, guys. You have a wonderful Saturday. Take care. Be good to yourselves. Be kind to yourselves.